Hi, I'm Joe Lyons.
I'm Tracy Davis.
And it is that time of the year again, 4th of July parade in downtown Ontario. And Ontario is a town that knows how to celebrate the 4th of July.
We appreciate your viewing with us today and hope you enjoy everything that we can bring.
Keep your eye out. It's going to be an exciting day with a lot of people you know, friends and neighbors, and interesting displays, all of them coming right down Euclid Avenue here on your TV. Tracy and I have been here with you before. We're back again, and so are the Ontario Police Motorcycle Corps coming through to open up the parade as they come down, squeaking and beeping as they do, just like that. Following them, we're going to see the Ontario Police Department Honor Guard. The Honor Guard led off with Corporal Scropos, the Scropos family long in law enforcement in the city of Ontario, on the police motorcycles. The Honor Guard following on foot, established in January of 1990, the OPD Honor Guard, as it's referred to. Currently 28 members strong, all members of the Guard, full-time police officers with the city of Ontario. They vary in rank from officer to captain. OPD Honor Guard presents the colors and features a bagpiper, a trumpeter, and drummers, and when appropriate, they perform the 21-gun salute. In addition to their performance at various city functions, they travel throughout the state of California in honor of fallen police officers. Give them a round of applause as they come marching through. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation's flag now passing. Here they come. You can hear the crowd cheering for the RC Equestrian Patrol. Rancho Cucamonga Equestrian Patrol is under the direction of Captain Mike Newcomb. It's an all-volunteer group of highly trained men, women, and horses dedicated to serving their community and police department. The patrol members provide their own uniform, horse, and equipment, and they donate a minimum of 12 hours a month. The Equestrian Patrol typically provides 6,000 volunteer hours per year for the Rancho Cucamonga Police Department. And those are some fine-looking horses there. Little short one. You know, in Hollywood, they use shorter horses so that the cowboys look bigger riding them.
That's a great trick. I'll have to remember that.
John Wayne was only 4'8". People don't know that.
They don't know that.
The Rancho Cucamonga Citizens Patrol coming by.
There's our opening banner announcing the beginning of the Independence Parade.
And the children celebrate America's future, our theme for this year's parade.
We see the young men carrying the Pack 309 Cub Scout banner.
Believe it or not, I was once a Cub Scout. Believe it or not, I was once that tall.
We appreciate all the extra effort we get this year from our Cub Scouts, our Boy Scouts. This is a long parade route. As you get a little closer to B Street, you'll discover those legs are tired.
Oh, yes. Especially when you have to work at it like these kids are doing. They're carrying the 50 flags of the United States and the District of Columbia. Boys and Cub Scout Pack 309 and 306, and Boy Scout Troop 303, and it's under the corner there, 319. These youth are regulars of the 4th of July Independence Day Parade. Young men represent the national program of scouting and their mission to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. Special thanks to the troops and their parents for their participation in this year's parade. And yes, there are some Girl Scouts marching in there today as well.
I think some of these flagpoles are bigger than the young people carrying them.
They are. That little fellow's doing a banner job carrying the banner there. I hope he makes it. Looks like one fellow decided to have Dad help him out.
I recognize my own state flag and proud to see it in the parade today.
Looking for the state of Ohio. Ohio is the only one with a banner-shaped flag. More like a pennant than a flag. Texas I see over there. I just spent the weekend there. Family reunion time. 50 different flags for 50 different states representing the Union of the United States of America. Perfect for the celebration of the 4th of July. Every state's flag has things in it that represent specifics to that state. Obviously, Texas, one star, the Lone Star State. Well, that only made sense. And the Chaffee High School NJROTC. That would be the Navy Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. The team in total represents 30 members. Bring together members from 9th through 12th grade, but they look sharp. Their mission is to instill in its members the values of citizenship, service to the United States, personal responsibility, and a sense of accomplishment. The Distinguished Unit Award curriculum at Chaffee emphasizes citizenship and leadership development, as well as maritime heritage. Well, if you're going to be Navy, you got to have a little bit of that. I was Air Force myself, so we just fly over them, wave on the way by. And speaking of Chaffee, you can tell from a block away it's the Marching Tiger Pride group. 80-member marching band from Chaffee under the direction of Steve Yannick. They are the Marching Tiger Pride. In tradition with the school, if you've ever walked into the auditorium and you see that giant tiger statue greeting you, a little unnerving sometimes. It's a busy group that'll be competing throughout California this fall, recognized as the 2013 Spirit Award winner, still remembered as the 2008 Southern California JA State Championship. Band members preparing for their spring 2015 tour of Europe. And of course, celebrating the 4th of July, what would be more appropriate than to start it off with the song Celebration? I'm reminded of marching bands from decades ago. 1976 when they all tried to make a marching piece out of Rocky. 1978 when they were all trying to do Star Wars. That one worked a little better here today.
Our reminder banner to help set Ontario free.
Promoting local control of the Ontario International Airport. And I guess effectively changing the name in the process, because officially it's the LA Ontario Airport now. The reason they did that was not to emphasize LA control so much as to emphasize the fact that we're not in Canada. Which, believe it or not, has actually been a certain... When I first moved to California and sent a letter to the VA and said I lived in Ontario, they said, write us when you move back to the United States. Well, the car says His Honor, the mayor of the city, but that looks like the First Lady of the city, also known for her photography and taking pictures of us. I think Paul Leone himself is coming up on foot behind the car there. Good morning, Your Honor.
Every year we come out here, celebrate with the city. Great day, great sunshine. Woo! Let's go. Happy 4th of July.
His Honor, the Mayor of the City of Ontario, Paul Leone, obviously an Angels fan. He's wearing their hat today. Speaking of the people who help run the City of Ontario, Jim Bowman and Alan Wapner, Mayor Pro Tem and Ontario City Councilman. Deborah Dorse-Parada, City Councilwoman, coming through in an older car than normal. Normally she has her car painted with the Set Ontario Free logo on it. I'm presuming that the car she's in is Ted's 36 because that's the license plate. And newest member of the Ontario City Council, Paul Vincent Avila. 33-year resident of the city. He was elected to the City Council just back in 2012, last year. Excuse me while I cough into the microphone there. Paul actually grew up in the Bunker Hill area of Los Angeles in Oxnard, but his family still lives there, but he's out here representing us. Moving on up, U.S. Congressman Gloria Negrete-McLeod. Congresswoman for the 35th District here in Southern California. That district, by the way, covers 2 counties, encompasses Chino, Montclair, Ontario, portions of Fontana and Rialto, unincorporated communities of Bloomington and San Bernardino County, and all of the city of Pomona. Right behind her is State Senator Norma Torres, former mayor of the city of Pomona.
And former Assemblywoman.
Yes. City Treasurer James Milheiser.
And the distinctive sounds of the
Yes, has to
Ontario
be.
Police.
One of their classic vehicles. And Police Chief Eric Hopley in the first one. It looks like an early 50s Plymouth there.
And a 92 Caprice featured at the Ontario Rotary Police Museum.
That museum, by the way, is located at the Ontario Police Headquarters, 2500 South Archibald Avenue, formerly the Fedco building. They had a choice of building a really expensive new police headquarters or taking the Fedco building and refurbishing it for a lot less money and save the taxpayers some dollars, but it still turned out to be quite an effective facility. Some of us remember the old one used to be downtown right next to City Hall, where they literally had converted closets into office space, and some of the desks were being used by 4 different people.
Much more effective where we are now.
Indeed.
As we wait for the Grand Marshal to arrive, many of you may not be aware that we do award prizes to all of the entries in today's parade. The floats, the walking groups, the marching bands, they all have separate categories. They're judged today. Our judges have taken a trip this morning to have a look at all of those entries, and they're making their final decisions as they come down the parade route.
Our Grand Marshal today is Ruby Levitt. She, wife of Wayne Levitt, who many people in the community know. Ruby was just recently awarded this year's Volunteer of the Year award. This is a special prize selected every year and announced down at the Senior Center for people who have given of themselves for the city of Ontario. Many of them, I've had the pleasure of judging, and many of them donate years worth of their time to help with various things. Ruby particularly with the library and the City Museum just a little bit further down from Euclid Avenue.
And we welcome the Chino Police Mounted Posse.
Indeed. An equestrian unit composed of civilian volunteers and sworn officers trained to assist in emergency situation, traffic control, and special mounted services as directed by the Chino Police Department. That looks more like one of their trucks, not so much like one of their horses, although there's probably a lot of horsepower in that truck. Can't believe I saved myself on that one.
Graber Olive House with their vintage truck.
That should be Cliff himself driving, Cliff Graver. Very familiar personage here in the city. Graber Olive House is Ontario's oldest existing business, found in 1894. Continues to produce the world-famous Graber tree-ripened olives. And this coming October, they'll be celebrating their 117th olive season. Hello, Cliff.
Ontario High School Marching Band.
I really don't think the words to that song are "Be kind to your web-footed friend." I've heard it sung that way. I don't even know the real words anymore.
The San Bernardino Valley Young Marines.
A youth education and service program for boys and girls, age 8 through completion of high school. They promote mental, moral, and physical development of its members.
They're followed by the 1921 Nash.
They don't make them like that anymore. In fact, they stopped making them like that in 1922. Owner of the car, James Kinley, and his wife, Kathy, proud members of the National Nash Car Club. Did you even know there was such a thing?
Listed on their webpage.
Oh, there you go. And they wish everybody a happy and safe 4th of July.
The Ontario Ovation Twirlers.
Appearing for the 3rd straight year, these young people are proud to promote the sport of baton twirling as a fun, unique, and challenging alternative to traditional sports. Baton twirling incorporating a wide variety of skills like eye-hand coordination, dance technique, and choreography.
Unmistakable sounds of young homes.
Sponsoring the breakfast to our right. Thank you, Gary, one and all of Ontario and all the surrounding communities for your great work as a county supervisor. 4th District.
Actually, there's a lot of people up there. We see Aquanetta Warren
We
from
have the Mayor of Fontana,
Fontana,
Aquanetta Warren.
Upland Mayor Ray
Aquanetta.
Musser,
Say happy 4th.
John Dutry from the
Happy
Montclair
4th,
City Council,
everyone. We love you, Ontario. You are part of a great region.
Mike Milheiser is there from the Monte Vista Water District, Gino Felipe from the Upland City Council, get them all together at the same time like that. Don't they have to report to the Brown Act on that kind of thing when you got all those politicians together? Gary, by the way, we're proud to be right across the street from him. He's hosting his annual 4th of July party while he's in the parade, bilocating or multitasking, I guess.
Inland Christian Home. Part of the tradition of the Inland Christian organizations.
Also with the Three-Way Thrift Store. They're located on South Mountain Avenue. The Inland Christian Home is. Ontario Christian Center serves approximately 1,600 students. The Three-Way Thrift Store is their fundraising facility for all three.
And the Salem Christian Home, which has been helping those with disabilities since 1961.
Inland Christian Home sends a whole lineup of automobiles coming through here right now. Model T Ford truck, Model T Ford touring car, Model T Ford custom sedan, as you watch this parade of cars go through, you'll see they get progressively younger. Who started out with a 1921 car will end up in 1978.
There's the Ontario Christian Schools, preschool through 12th grade, represented today.
And a triplet wagon.
That's
Always
just
fun to
gorgeous.
watch the doggies in the parade. They probably don't know what it is, but they know they're having fun doing it. Here come the rest of the cars. As we said, they get progressively older. We're into the 1940s now. Chevy Business Coupe Special Deluxe, a Ford Coupe, and a Chevy two-door sedan.
There's our special guest from the Salem Christian Home.
Now we're getting into my area. A 55 Chevy four-door sedan, 56 Ford pickup, and towing a trailer with two custom scooters from the 1950s.
It's amazing they can completely restore those and still find parts.
A lot of
Cushman.
people are very particular. They will only use original parts. They can find copies, duplicates, they can even custom make them, but they just as soon have the original pieces. That's a little Cushman chugging along there. Cushman scooter. And the vehicles move on into the 60s, a Pontiac Bonneville. 63 Ford T-Bird. There's a Chevy coming up. That looks like about a 1959 Chevy, I'm thinking. There's the T-Bird.
Very distinctive paint.
They say that the thing that really put the T-Bird on the map was when they added the back seat. That it was just a little two-seater sports car when it first came out in the 50s. Added a back seat, and they went crazy. The Dodge Charger, a classic in its time with a Hemi engine.
These car owners take such pride in the condition of their cars.
You know what's difficult about it is finding leaded gas for these vehicles anymore is not as easy as you would think. It's not exactly what you're going to find lined up at Costco. Here comes the Ford F-100 pickup. The three-way store that we mentioned earlier, representatives from there coming through. This little gray car is a Datsun. Some people are not even old enough to remember that what we now call a Nissan used to be a Datsun. The story is that somebody from here ordered it in Japan and said, when can you get it to me? And they said, we'll have it to you in a week. And they said, that soon? And that's not the way it got its name. That's just the urban legend.
Goodness, I think they put the word compact in compact cars. That's tiny.
They did, well, that and the original Honda Civic, which got its name because it had a 1500cc engine like the big Honda motorcycles did. The Chevy C20 3/4 pickup truck. The Chevy Super Sport.
Again, the incredible detail that these owners put into restoring these cars to their original and mint condition.
Oh, yeah. Keeping them shine, keeping them polished.
You just don't find chrome anymore.
No. The Ford Ranchero. Giant Peterbilt with an Indian motorcycle attached to the back, matching colors. And the Inland Christian Home passenger van coming through. The GMC pick-em-up truck, and another Ford F-100.
Riverside King High School Marching Band.
They are the Kingsmen, not the ones who recorded Louie Louie. These kids weren't even born then. They're from Riverside High School. They're under the direction of Charles Gray, and they enjoy a long tradition of outstanding performances in both the U.S. and Europe. They're going to be traveling this holiday season and perform for the New Year's Day parade in England, then go on to Spain for the Three Kings parade in Madrid. The music, of course, from the Music Man, 76 trombones. Except I see some saxophones in there.
Nothing like a great marching song to get this crowd fired up.
Indeed. Traditional music. And these kids have all sounded great. Emeritus at Victorian Court Senior Living Community is located on North Euclid Avenue. They've been a vital part of the Ontario community for more than 20 years. Their passion and commitment to making a difference in people's lives is seen in their quality services and value. They offer a supportive environment, promote the health, independence, and social interaction of today's seniors. Emeritus at Victorian Court encourages everyone to come by and tour their community, witness firsthand their passion to service to seniors. They truly live up to their promise. Our family is committed to yours.
Yala Calafame.
They're driving a 1939 Chevy Master Deluxe. Behind that, a 1959 Chevy wagon. Is that a 59? I think it's a 57 with that tail structure there. And coming up behind is the 1949 and 50 Chevy in the collection. One family with a lot of fancy-looking cars.
For those with eagle eyes, you may have noticed that the Emeritus van was full of seniors. They love to participate in the 4th of July parade, and they look forward to it every year.
Indeed.
The California Youth Spirit Corps.
They cheer, they dance, and they've got a drill team. They were formed in 1987 by Dolores Cohen. Instruction provided by Devin Hall, Judy Holquin, and Gabby Acosta. The students range in age from 4 to 14, and they represent the communities of Ontario, Fontana, Yoruba, and Rialto. The program teaches teamwork, physical fitness, confidence, and coordination, all in one super fun environment.
Very enthusiastic and a very small package. The Judge's Choice Award today, the Ontario City Library, also known as the Ovid Family Community Library.
With a very nice little restaurant attached to it, too.
And I'm sure Page One appreciates that little plug.
Yeah.
The summer's theme reading is so delicious. The walkers in today's parade are all members of the Ontario City Library, the Readers Program, and volunteers.
Cute little lady in the wagon, but I don't think she's really having that good a time.
Well,
or maybe she just has a natural frown.
One very proud grandmother pulling her in that wagon.
Yes, indeed.
Well, the group that needs no introduction, Lucky Seven Stables.
They're located in Ontario, have been for 20 years. They offer horse boarding and lessons for all ages, all skill levels in both Western and English saddle. A fun family atmosphere. They invite you to stop by and say hello.
Horses, ponies, even a colt.
Oh, look at those. I see a Chihuahua in there. I don't think he's part of the horse stables, but then he may be the stable dog.
Sure-footed little Shetland ponies, and a very high-spirited girl.
Boy, isn't that? That's the horsey that came to show off.
And our thanks to the people from Public Works Department who are keeping the streets clean right behind that equestrian entry.
But it is showbiz.
Santa Claus Inc. of the Ontario District.
Now, if this was a Christmas parade, Santa Claus would be at the end of the parade, but he's not. He's right here in the middle.
These wonderful volunteers represent an outstanding organization.
Indeed, they provide toys and clothing at Christmas time for needy children in Ontario, Montclair, Rancho Cucamonga, Upland, Chino, and Fontana. Totally volunteer-driven, nonprofit group relying entirely on tax-deductible donations.
Unmistakable little cars of the Los Nietos Shriners Club.
Across America, Shriners drive little cars.
These mini cars are a symbol of hope for many children.
And it's easier to find a parking space when you need it. Actually, the cars are not the symbol of the Shriners. Their red fez is, with the numerous types of mini cars just being a part of what they do. The Club with a Heart, the Los Nietos Valley Shrine Club.
Beautiful black and white 1956 Buick Special.
Oscar Perez proudly driving that. Two-door hardtop. All original interior with only one modification to the dashboard, and features a radio clock. The clock works, which in 1956 was an amazing thing for any automobile. And I, for one, certainly hope he still has an AM radio in that car, but that's just me personally. He's driving that car with the optional Kelsey Hayes wire chrome wheels, for those of you taking note.
Well, this pause gives us an opportunity to talk about the Upland High School Marching Band.
They call themselves the Highland Regiment. They're under the direction of Mr. Ernie Miranda and Mr. Mark Capabo. 230-member marching band featuring a color guard, an authentic Scottish pipe band. The regiment's drum major is Nicole Erskine, and assistant drum majors Miranda Wheeler and Sky Allen. Color guard captains are Gabby Venegas and Melissa Manser.
Unmistakable sounds of those Scottish pipes.
Got to be. You know, it always amazed me. Sean Connery being very patriotic Scotsman, but in the movie The Longest Day, he said, takes an Irishman to play the pipes. That's acting, I guess.
I guess. Certainly one of the larger groups today.
Indeed. And I have to say, I've emceed a lot of local community parades in various different cities that I've lived in. I've never seen so many really tight, really on-key, really exciting marching bands all in one location at one time. You expect it in like the New York Macy's Day Parade or something, but to have them right here in Ontario, all of them being that good, I am impressed.
Another award-winning organization, Totally Twirling.
They're located in Upland and love to participate in parades, recitals, and competitions. Students begin as early as 4 years of age. They can twirl in group or private lessons. Totally Twirling is directed by Brandy Holland, who's also their featured soloist today. Brandy is a former featured twirler for the University of South Dakota, as well as a USA Twirling Ambassador in Peru and London. So why did you go to Peru? I was twirling.
I was twirling. Say, I recognize that cow.
Yes, that's the Eat More Chicken cow. Heartfelt sentiment, even if he doesn't spell it quite correctly. It's from our friends at Chick-fil-A, making their way down the parade route. Now, not to give an obvious plug, but these cows come from the Ontario Mills Parkway, where their Chick-fil-A is located. So I think they owe us a sandwich now for the plug.
At least one.
By the way, this is Chick-fil-A's 4th year participating in the 4th of July parade. In 2010, Chick-fil-A won the Beautiful Trophy Award for Viewer's Choice.
They're also a proud sponsor of many of the community activities here in Ontario, and we really do appreciate every time they come out and bring that cow.
They do. I've been to golf tournaments where they had their little breakfast treats, and I've been to events where they took care of everybody in a route or whatever the operation was. They were there to make sure that they were taken care of. Smiling little girls with great big crowns, the Diva Awards pageant. Part of the March of Dimes family team, believing that the positive way to say you can is to incorporate their slogan into giving back to the community and making a positive impact on the community through volunteer experiences.
Our Pomona Valley Model A Club.
A whole bunch of Model A's all in one place. I thought I was coughing. That horn sounds like it's got a worse throat than I do today. By the way, it's the goal of the Pomona Valley Club to resurrect and restore the examples of the Ford Model A cars to further educate the public about the vision of Henry Ford to create the cars of a new era. Henry Ford did not invent the car. He invented the assembly line to make the car, thus making it possible for us all to have cars. As he said, you can get it in any color you want as long as it's black.
As long as it is black. Guards Ontario Music is the next entry.
That flag is bigger than the car. Guards is proud to serve the community and supporting musicians, families, and children learning to play music, an important part of a child's overall education and development. Teaches self-confidence, improves learning skills, and provides a source of joy and inspiration for the rest of their lives. Guards wishing us a happy 4th of July.
And from Rial, Ontario, Horencia Chara.
Herencia Chara, a group of charros who are predominantly from the Ontario area, continuing the charro tradition beginning at a very young age and passing down from one generation to the next.
These horsemen and women devote hours out of each day to work and train with their horses. And if that horse appears to be dancing, it's because he is.
Ah.
He has to be at least 17 hands high.
There's some proud high steppers there. From Pomona Valley, the Habitat for Humanity. Working in the area for over 20 years to help lower-income families attain home ownership, eliminate poverty housing, and to help better our society.
That brings up Northview High School, Vikings from Covina, California.
From the other side of Kellogg Hill. Welcome. 65-member unit under the direction of Alan Casey, enjoying another successful year of performing throughout the community. This year, the band is led by drum major Nathan Chavez and assistant drum major Adrian Cortez. They thank the parents and boosters who joined the band members today and helped to make this trip and many others possible.
And a special shout out for wearing full uniforms today.
They no doubt will want the AC cranked up in the bus on the ride back.
Plenty of water at the end of the route. I hope they take advantage.
It may not be comfortable, but it looks sharp.
They do.
Esperanza Scholarship Fund.
The Esperanza Group has enabled a number of young people in Ontario to reach the next level following high school. They're honoring today some of our fallen soldiers. Quickly followed by the American Legion.
Well, could we have a 4th of July parade without the American Legion? I'm suspecting some of the little people on that float have not yet had the opportunity to serve their country, but probably will, and God bless them for it.
VFW 11546, known as the Black Sheep Squadron.
Aha. Now, when I think of the Black Sheep Squadron, I think of Pappy Boyington.
Absolutely
Many
named
people
for
remember
him.
from the television show, if not from his actual historical exploits. They were a legendary flying group in World War II in the South Pacific. Long and dedicated career with the Marine Corps, Pappy was credited with downing 26 aircraft, was discharged with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and awarded the Medal of Honor for extraordinary heroism above and beyond the call of duty as commanding officer of Marine Fighting Squadron 214. Remember, just in case anybody makes the mistake, nobody wins a Medal of Honor. They are awarded the medal for what they have done for our country. By the way, today the members of the VFW Post 11546 march in his honor under the command of Dennis Murillo. And of course they say, Semper Fi. I hear more bagpipes.
This is a new organization for us this year.
The Scottish Society of the Inland Empire. It's a nonprofit society from the Robert Burns Dinner, complete with haggis, sword dancing, and bagpipes. You know the old joke about politics, you wouldn't want to know what's in it. I know what's in haggis, which is why we won't be having haggis at our barbecue today. But it's a grand tradition. It is to the Scots what gefilte fish is to the Swedes.
They welcome everyone to
Gefilte
this.
fish is not the Swedes. The Swedes have lutefisk. I'll get my tasteless food straightened out here.
Short promotional banner bringing our attention to the 5K run
Indeed.
for Promise Scholars.
Promise Scholars is a program that guarantees a place in college and a scholarship for all Ontario Montclair School District students. Promise Scholars is a partnership between OMSD and the Chaffey Joint Union High School District, along with the City of Ontario, Chaffey College, Inland Empire United Way, the City of Montclair local business and service groups. They start in the 5th grade and promise to study hard enough to make it to college and then get that, which I think is an exciting way to create the interest.
It's an education process for the parents as well. They learn all about the career as well as educational opportunities and funding, a much needed resource.
By the way, OMSD, or the Ontario Montclair School District, coming past us right now in beautiful Mustang convertibles, Elvira Rivas and Chris Brake from the Board of Trustees, along with Steve Garcia. They have to turn those cars back in at the end of the parade. They don't get to keep them. And of course, Sam Crow with the Board of Trustees. Sam has been working with the city for years, formerly with Covington and Crow, the law firm. Works currently with the Travelers Aid. He's been part of any number of organizations in the community.
A happy bus.
Yeah, well, obviously you would think the bus would get the day off, but no such luck. Superintendent James Hammond from the Ontario Montclair School District. All right, you kids, knock it off. Let's all sit down. And the Hornworks, too. They're having fun for one day in that bus. Normally they're taking them to school.
Our friends from the north, Rancho Cucamonga High School Marching Band.
You know, I joked earlier about the Kingsmen and Louie Louie. This band is playing Louie Louie. Okay, now just to follow this around, earlier we saw Gary Ovitt go by. Sue Ovitt, board president of the Chaffey Unified School High School District, going by, and Gary, now done with the parade, has stepped forward from his home across the street to wave at his lovely wife. Also from the Chaffey Joint Union High School District, Josie Estrada, Tim Ward, Sherry McGaw. And that looks like Andy in the straw hat. Andy! Watch where you're driving, Andy. Andy owns a sign shop, so it was very easy to make Sherry a bunch of signs for her campaign.
Worked out great.
Good to have a friend in the business.
Pacific Youth Cheer and Dance Group.
By the way, that youth group is sponsored by the Stevens Hope for Children, which does marvelous work in the community on its own. And they're 55 strong with 15 helper parents, 11 basketball players, and 1 very patient driver. Have to ask Tony over at Stevens Hope where he found that. It's an interesting medley of holiday 4th of July music. Back in the days when people were doing medleys of everything. Got so bad, a lot of radio stations decided no more medleys. We're just not going to play them. Inland Valley Volkswagen, a club for all VW enthusiasts throughout Southern California, traveling to many shows throughout the year, specializing in fun events. Now, you think the Volkswagen, you think of the Bug, but there's the microbus, the Carmen Ghia, and of course a bunch of Bugs. You couldn't have it without a bunch of the Bugs. They still make them. They don't look quite the same, but they still make a car that they call the Bug.
Amazing how they removed that windshield.
Microbus with the traditional surfboard on the roof. The Coca-Cola cooler in the back because there just isn't room inside.
Big enough for one large dog in the back seat.
He's having fun. Why are all these people waving at me? Did I do something good? And one last VW Bug in desperate need of a paint job, but still able to tow a trailer and the American flag and a Marine Corps flag.
Our friends from the Knights of Columbus.
The Knights of Columbus, a fraternal benefit society, was formed in 1882 to render aid to members and their families, offering assistance to the sick, disabled, and needy members and their families. Social and intellectual fellowship is promoted among members and their families' education, charitable, religious, social welfare, war relief, and public relief works. Knights of Columbus has grown from several members in one council to more than 14,000 councils and 108 million members throughout the United States, Canada, the Philippines, Mexico, Poland, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Panama, the Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, Cuba, Guatemala, Guam, and Saipan. I think I got them all in. And again, those guys are in full dress on a relatively warm day. Well, some of them are. Some of them showed up in their shorts and golf shirts. But still, we can salute them for their work.
Joining the Ontario Council, the St. Mary's Council.
Chaffee Community Republican Women Federated. And I don't think the gentleman in the stovepipe hat and beard is one of the Republican women. But he does remind us that Republicans are the party of Lincoln. Oh, she scared me for a minute. She said happy birthday. I didn't think it was mine. By the way, the Chaffee Community Republican Women Federated is celebrating their 63rd year of helping the men and women of Ontario, Montclair, Upland, and Rancho Cucamonga. They provide scholarships to high school seniors and college women. Additionally, they support the USO and military personnel overseas. You know, the USO at the Ontario Terminal 1 is the largest in the United States. People would think, well, no, wouldn't that be the Bob Hope chapter at LAX? Ontario's per square footage is bigger than the Bob Hope facility.
And we have a wonderful volunteer that the senior center shares with the USO, and he tells us large numbers of servicemen and women who come in, 1,200, 1,500 at a time.
3,500 at sometimes. I've heard him talking about it. And sometimes they show up at 2 in the morning when the plane lands, and they have a phone chain to call everybody and get them out there. I'll bet you're speaking of Dale.
I am.
Yeah.
Outstanding young man.
He is. And probably was an outstanding young man back in between the wars, too. But he does marvelous things for that USO, and we can be proud to have that right here in our town. The Montclair High School Marching Band. Performing Bonds of Unity by Carl King, the Mighty Marching Cavaliers of Montclair High School, directed by Douglas McKenna Jr., drum majors Christy Llamas and Jose Camacho, along with the color guard captain Emmanuel Murrow. 75-member band routinely performing for the fall football games and field show tournaments and parades. High school and college football is not the same without a marching band at the halftime. They got to wear t-shirts and shorts today. This is the Bob Obermeyer family coming up. Their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren proudly riding American-made cars of the last century. A 1914 Buick, a 1924 Ford, and a 1940 Buick. I'm thinking that's a 1940 Buick there.
Okay.
Now that's a interesting horn. That's a beautiful car. With, I think, a horn connected somehow to the transmission. It's the only way I could account for a sound like that.
The banner tells us this is the Community Service Award float.
I see a lot of red, white, and blue. I see a lot of balloons. This is going to be exciting.
This float is presented by a service club, and in our case, it's the Elks, number 1419.
United States Marines aboard. That's a live children's chorus singing America the Beautiful.
Followed closely by the Watchman Brass and Percussion Group.
Now this is interesting. That group is sponsored by Patriot High School, but it's made up of students from throughout the Inland Empire. The idea is to provide students with additional performance and educational opportunities through the summer. And the kids marching range in age from 14 to 20. They represent the cities of Europa, Rubidoux, and the Patriot High School area as well.
Have an outstanding drum corps leader. That cadence was really very good.
Again, continuing with some very sharp bands today.
Looks like we've awarded the Chaffee Heritage Award to our next group. Should be the Marine Corps League. I believe that they are today reenacting the Iwo Jima.
Looks like the raising of the flag.
This float best displays something historical to the city of Ontario.
Always
or our
bothers
country.
me that people keep talking about, well, they didn't really do it. They did it several times to take several pictures. The film was done separately from the photo. I don't care. It was done, and the fact that it happened was monumental in the turning of the spirit of America in the South Pacific. This is in memory of Colonel Joe Combe, USMC, from Iwo Jima.
The Red, White, and Blue Award today goes to Granite Creek Community Church. They display the most patriotic use of red, white, and blue themed.
And a lot of bicycles in there, too. In fact, they've been winning awards for the past 7 years. Their actual float that's coming up here is a special flag featuring the actual flag flown over the U.S. command post Halil in Iraq in wartime in honor of the U.S. Army, Vietnam veterans, and Purple Heart recipients.
The next entry sponsored by Metro Nissan in Montclair, honoring Bernardo de Galvez.
He was a hero of the American Revolution.
The Aztec dancers immediately behind that super-sized truck.
Indeed. Now, just like those little cars in the Schneiders, that's a vehicle that can park wherever it wants to.
And the next 20 cars do represent their sponsor.
Yes. A bunch of Nissans all in a row. Well, it looks like the hot dogs are ready over at Gary Oven's Picnic, but we've still got work to do. I would ask Gary to save me one, but it'll be cold by the time we're done. Okay, this is embarrassing because this is a line of vehicles from local radio stations, Super Australia 107.1 and Jose 97.5. I would have had AM 1510 from right here in Ontario in the parade, but I'm the only one that drives it, and I've got to be here, so it's parked. But we salute them too, as do the radio stations, both of those Spanish language radio stations in honor of the Spanish American Revolutionary hero. And well, if you've got to travel down the parade route, taking the limo is the way to do it.
They're followed today by the Ontario Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Twelve vehicles representing them. A classic Corvette, a couple of Mercedeses. It's the best part of the parade, even if it does slow it down a little, people waving back and forth. Friends in the parade, friends along the side of the route.
It's always good to have friends. New Life Christian Church is next in our parade.
They're located right here in Ontario. And their group representing them today is their youth group, another level dance team. They have the privilege of performing throughout the state and sometimes out of the state as well. Recently, they raised more than $2,000 when they fasted for hungry children in the world.
I recognize that tractor. We've seen him before.
Indeed. From David Paul, a true enthusiast of old airplanes and old tractors. First vehicle, a 1913 Model T Ford, three-door touring car, owned and driven by longtime Ontario resident Steve Kostecki. And they're also saluting Flaybob Airport in the process over in Riverside. I love it. Coral Sea Division, Pomona, California, Cadet Corps.
The Chino Tea Party, our next entry.
Their group called the Founding Fathers, men and women of the armed forces, passing, presenting the city of Ontario for having this, thanking us for having this Independence Day.
Their famous flag, "Don't tread on me."
Classic symbol of the Revolution. This is your sweepstakes award winner coming up.
Best overall, this award is traditionally given to the best representation float. Redeemer Lutheran Church and School.
First vehicle sponsored by Thrivent Financial Lutheran. It's a Lutheran financial group. Very, very interesting.
Redeemer Lutheran wanted to make the public aware that they're now part of the food bank.
And the Vacation Bible School comes up. They're representing several different aspects of what Redeemer does, including their Christian schools, their Christian preschools, the care center, and summer day camp. They also have a new community service, which is their food bank every Saturday from 10 until noon, first come, first serve.
And a very strong Indonesian ministry, sharing part of their culture today with native attire.
Our Lady of Lourdes School was established in 1959 to provide Catholic education to the children of the Montclair area. Serving preschool through 8th grade, OLL School continually strives to excellence in its instructional program with strong Catholic orientation. Walking today are some of Our Lady of Lourdes students, along with the principal, Mrs. Diaz de Leon, school staff, and parents. Now that is something I can honestly say I have never seen in a parade before, is taking the Pledge of Allegiance as you march down the street.
An excellent reminder, especially today. This is the second half of the entry we had earlier.
Oh, right. Honoring Bernardo de Galvez, Hispanic hero of the American Revolution. Well, I see why. The earlier part of that group was all Nissans, and that was a Jeep Cherokee, so they had to keep them apart. Well, it's the only excuse I could come up with real quick there.
I just love these little teardrops. They're so cute.
A trailer with a trailer. This is the Teardrop Society. They participate for their second year. For the past 9 years, they have been building teardrop travel trailers inspired by the original teardrop trailers of the early 30s. Some of the first historical figures of the Great American Highway, the Mother Road, Route 66. I remember that one from last year because it had the little bar on the back end. Funny the things that stand out in your mind. These are tiny towable airfoil shaped trailers. They were all the rage in the 40s and 50s. Launch Point Community Church. This is a new church in South Ontario, embracing all people and igniting faith in everyday life. They're located at 3045 South Archibald, below the 60 freeway.
They're very popular with the young people today as they hand out Frisbees.
Well, that would make them popular. And there's a doggy over there, just can't wait for one of the kids to start throwing the Frisbees. You wonder if the dogs waited all those centuries for somebody to invent the Frisbee so that they'd be able to play with it. Inland Valley Democratic Club, first chartered in 2006. They've been members from Ontario, Upland, Rancho Cucamonga, and Fontana. 3 years ago, they were honored with the second place trophy in the Rancho Cucamonga Founders Day Parade.
I'm going to guess this is her first year to be in the parade.
That little one there, riding down, probably won't even remember. Oh, this one, yes, there's two of them in there that are. Continuing the honor to Bernardo de Galvez, Hispanic hero of the American Revolution. He provided food, guns, blankets, and money to assist George Washington, which, as anybody who stayed awake in school knows, probably could have used all of that at Valley Forge.
Their sponsor today, obviously Mercedes-Benz of Ontario.
New to the city, just opened up this past year, although that dealership chain has existed in Orange County. And because of that, we have a whole string of Mercedes-Benz.
These have got to be part of the Classic Car Club.
These are all Chevy vehicles. Chevy wagons, Impalas, a Bel Air, a Caprice, a Chevy truck, and a Chevy pickup.
This organization was originally created to help kids stay off the street, away from gangs, and out of drugs. By refocusing their energy on rebuilding classic cars.
Yeah. And nothing would keep me off the streets more than thinking that I'm looking at dancing cars.
First time entry, the Great Commission Church.
They're located in Hacienda Heights. It's a large group carrying American flags. Recently purchased the YMCA Ontario Montclair facility, and they'll be an active participant in all of Ontario's community events. 75 walkers today represent the more than 1,500 church membership from Hacienda Heights. And they're excited to be in the Ontario 4th of July parade, so we welcome them today. Battle Hymn of the Republic, something else you don't see nearly often enough at a 4th of July parade.
A 1953 John Deere tractor, one of the most recognized brands in America.
Nothing runs like a Deere. That one's in good shape, too. But then, if it looked that good, you wouldn't want to take it out in the mud and the dirt in the field.
A 1930 Ford Model AA.
Now, what would happen if you joined the auto club with that? It would be an AAAAA.
Looks like we're looking at the new All-State Award winners. All-State theme is the float that uses decorations, participants, and overall look of the float to showcase their theme and is easily recognizable.
That's got to be the tallest entry in the parade coming up.
La Familia de Dios.
Yes. Familia de Dios Christian Church kids dance team is coming up right behind the building structure. They've been serving the Hispanic Ontario community, proclaiming the good news of the love of God since 1995. By the way, they also help children, youth, young adults, and many women, men and women of all ages, counseling, and they minister to kids with special needs and people with drug addiction. So they do a lot of great work within the community. As do many of the organizations that we've been presenting here today. They come out and wave the flag and honor America, but their work during the rest of the year is equally important. The Ontario Classic Car Club. Although it looks like a lot of bicycles coming up front. I should point out, decorated and chromed and tricked out bicycles. And here they go, the dancing cars again. I love it. You know, a lot of these vehicles are going to be back again in December for Christmas on Euclid. Right about where we're sitting, they have a car show every year as a part of the event here on the main street. So these cars in Main Street of Ontario get used to each other on a regular basis. The 58 Chevy, don't see a lot of them around. You know, you talk about Americana on Route 66. One of the great things that have passed us by have been the great big General Motors automobiles. Organizations like this manage to keep the tradition going and keep the vehicles out on the road. All the little cars all look like little cars anymore.
Some of these young people may look familiar. They're from all over the city of Ontario. They represent the Teen Action Committees.
Well, they call it TAC, but it is Teen Action Committee. Largest community-committed teen organization in our city. Reminding us that teens are the key to the future.
That brings up our recycling organization, and Recycle Roo proudly displayed on the top of the truck. Their motto to reduce, reuse, and recycle.
This is your street, keep it clean. They named him Recycle Roo?
Makes appearances all over the community.
Because he's a kangaroo.
Correct.
Okay, I get it. Normally these things go by about 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't get to see them. By the way, we should point out that the entire solid waste department is eager to provide education and advice in helping you minimize the amount of waste you generate in your home and business. Fire Chief Floyd Clark and his crew. For the Christmas parade at Santa Claus or the 4th of July, what can be more exciting at the end of the parade than a big old fire truck? You know, my dad used to ride the back end of the hook and ladder when he was in. Back then it was just a seat, open air with a wheel in front of it. Now it's inside the cab, it's air conditioned, it's radio controlled from the front. And the parade rolls on down the street, an exciting one. We hope you've enjoyed it with some truly spectacular music and truly spectacular displays.
The floats, the people, they've made it an outstanding day. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again next year.